This is the SAU Report, a program featuring interviews with the faculty, staff, students, and alumni of Southern Arkansas University in Magnolia.
Hi, welcome to this edition of the SAU Report. I'm Mary Ligon.
And I'm Tammy Iverson. On today's Student Issues Forum, we have with us today Mistie, Holley, and Sara Cotaya.
Hi. Mistie, why did you choose to attend school at SAU?
SAU honestly was not my first choice for college. I wanted to be further away from home. I'm just from Prescott. But when I finally got down here and I checked the school out, I realized that the people were they were just like at home. But I still got the college atmosphere that I wanted. And also, if I wanted to go home, then I could. So I wasn't too far away, but far enough that Mom couldn't be here every day.
So you do feel like that SAU has a friendly atmosphere as far the
It's
students
wonderful, and I've been involved in a lot of things around campus, and if I ever have a problem, there's a lot of professors that I can go to or anything like that, and they're always there for me, so they do.
Great. Sara, how would you describe campus life versus commuters?
As far as commuting goes, I really wouldn't know because my home is I'm from Houston, and that's a 6-hour drive from here. But living on campus is pretty cool because we live with all of the softball team. I'm on the softball team here at SAU, and we live on the floor at Graham, and it's a lot of fun. We get to chill and do whatever we want when we want, and spend time with all our friends. So it's a lot of fun.
So what do you think the pros and cons have been since you moved to such a small town as opposed to Houston? As to living in Magnolia, what would be the differences, good or bad?
Social life has definitely changed. You can't go to the mall whenever you want. There's not really a whole lot of extracurricular activity as far as like going out on the weekends and stuff like that. To go into a movie theater or to go out to dinner at a restaurant like Chili's or something, you have to drive for at least 30 minutes to go to El Dorado or something like that. You have to drive a long way to go do anything besides go to the movies at Cameo Trio. So it's a lot different.
Yeah.
So you moved down here by yourself?
Yeah. My roommate is actually from Houston, and there's another girl on the softball team that also came from Houston. 3 of us came up here together.
So you've made a lot of new friends at
Yes.
SAU?
I can't go anywhere on campus without seeing somebody that I know and being able to stop and talk to whoever I want. I'm friends with pretty much, everybody I see I know or I've had class with, so I can always stop and talk to everybody.
Do you feel that, excuse me, that since you're so involved with sports here, you're in softball and everything, do you think that they have too strict of policies on your comings and your goings as far as, I know that you all have to live on campus. Do you think anything about the rules that they require you to follow should change?
Well, I know that NCAA states, I think it's NCAA, that states that if you haven't established residency in that town for 9 months, then you have to live on campus. And sometimes I'm not really fond of that because, every once in a while I do want to get away from the rest of my teammates since I'm with them for 6 hours during practice and on the road with them, and I'm always with them, and sometimes I wish I could get away and just kind of be in my own space and relax by myself or with other friends not affiliated with softball. But as far as like policies and stuff go, I don't think that it's really that strict. Like our coach lets us go out and do stuff just like any other student would be allowed to. We have curfew the nights before games, but I'm not even going to be out running around doing whatever anyway. I'd rather be getting my rest so I can perform the next day.
Mistie, I know you live in the dorms. How would you describe the cleanliness?
I live in Harrod Hall, which is the freshman dorm, and it's really not that bad. We have one custodian, and she's like everybody's mother. So she, besides cleaning up after us, she also takes care of us if we ever need anything. But they're really not that bad. And the first concern I had was to come to school and share a bathroom with 30 different girls.
Right.
But that really hasn't become a problem, and they're not bad at all. But the rooms are old. And my room is always a mess, just because I never have time to clean it. But it's really not that bad, besides just the old, just an old building itself.
That's good.
Okay, living on campus, and this is your first year away from home, and of course we all consider ourselves as adults. And do you think that living on campus, the on-campus students should have a later curfew?
Actually, the campus itself and the SAU, their rules or whatever that they have, they're not bad. I mean, we have till midnight during the weeks for guys to be in the dorms, and then you have, during the weekends, it's 1 o'clock. I mean, yeah, if you need to study or whatever, you could go somewhere else, because if you have a roommate who wants to be in bed, like mine, she's in bed at 10 o'clock and she's ready to go to bed, so there's no reason for me to have anybody in the room. It's just common courtesy. So, I mean, really, they're not that bad. I know that they're thinking about changing them, maybe this next semester, lengthening the time of the guys in the dorms and things like that.
And RHA has a lot to do with that. Yeah. So what kind of things did y'all have to go through to try to change that? What kind of?
Right now, they're going through several different processes. They're having to research different colleges that are about the same size as SAU, maybe some even a little bigger, that are in this area, and we go by pregnancy rates, alcohol, just anything like that that could possibly, grades, GPAs of the students, just anything that could possibly have to do with actually people being in the dorms longer than what they should maybe, so how it affects them.
Sarah, do you think the dorms are overcrowded?
I live in Graham, and I think that's probably the smallest dorm on campus. There's 8 rooms per wing. There's 2 one wing on each side. And so 16 girls on one side is not that bad. We have 4 bathroom stalls and 4 showers. That sometimes gets a little crowded because since we're all playing softball, we all get at practice at the same time, and we all want to take showers at the same time.
Right.
And there's a race for the showers, like who can get there quickest to see, just it's a game we play. And the bathroom situation isn't that great because of there's not a lot of space. But as of the crowding, we all love living together. I mean, it's so much fun, and I don't think it's overcrowded at all. But I don't know in Harrod if it's a little bit different.
No, I've created more friends by living in the dorm. I am really glad that they make you stay here, because honestly, I probably would have found a house off campus for my first semester. But I have met so many people that I'll be friends with, all the way up until I'm out of here, and probably even after that. And so I enjoy living in the dorms. Yeah, you get times where you would like to just have a room by yourself, no roommate to deal with, no problems. But it's also nice that I can go home and she'd be there when I need her.
Well, I know that that y'all haven't been here this long, but I know when I was living on campus, I had some really, really bad roommate experiences. So are you guys having good luck in that aspect of living on campus?
I've known my roommate since we were about 1.5 years old. Our parents actually worked together when we both lived in Dallas, and so we get along great. Sometimes she gets on my nerves. She likes to steal the phone a lot, but other than that, we get along great, and I have to put up with her anyway. I have to be able to deal with her, and since we play on the field together, we have to have a communication between us where we don't fight and argue, and I think we get along great. So I don't have a problem, but I know other people do have problems with their roommates.
I went through one roommate nightmare, but after that, I've got a roommate now, and we've been best friends. Actually went over the summer here at the Leadership Academy that the school offers, and we have been inseparable since. Yes, there's times that we could, we just have enough of each other, but like I said, she's also there when I want to talk to her.
It's rare that people, especially when you're in a situation of not always being able to choose your roommate, that you actually get someone that you're at least partially compatible to, and then too, living with another female, you're going to have phone wars, because I know I like to talk a lot and talk on the phone, so luckily I
also have the consideration things, if she wants to go to bed at 10 o'clock and you're not tired, well, you also don't want to keep the TV going or the computer on, something that's making noise that could keep her from sleeping, so you have to get together and kind of decide those type of things.
I had a roommate last semester that was never there, so I looked out in that aspect. But so, Misty, you've been involved. You said in Leadership Academy, and this next coming fall, you're trying to go out for a Mule Rider Roundup. Do you feel that those programs such as those, pre-college programs are beneficial at all to students?
I loved Leadership Academy. Yes, it was very long days, and you get up real early in the morning and you start real early and go till late at night. But my experience was, and most of the ones that I've seen that went to Leadership Academy, and I see them around campus, they all, their best friend that they're with now are ones that they met there. Mine is, and like I said, we're inseparable. It makes it easier when you make the transition into the dorm and into the college life, because you're not alone. I didn't come to school with anybody that I graduated with. So when I went to Leadership Academy, I had a chance to meet several hundred people that when I came to school, at least I knew somebody and I wasn't alone. Your Rider Roundup, it's for those people who haven't been to, haven't had the experience in the college life, and it gives them a chance before the rest of the, the older, more intimidating people get here. It gives them a chance to learn and meet new people.
Great. So Sarah, how is it possible for you to keep such a high grade point average playing on the softball team?
I know that Coach Pulaski emphasizes academics a lot more than most coaches across the country do. Most coaches are out just to win, and Coach Pulaski, if you have less than a B in your classes, then you will have to go to study hall for 2 hours a week. Fortunately, I have not had to do that, but that you do have to study a lot, and he makes sure that you are keeping up with your grades. He's in constant contact with the professors. He sends emails out a lot. He loves to play on the computer and talk to your professors. Make sure that you're doing what you need to be doing. You have to attend class. If he finds out that you skip a class, then you're running for that. And so he emphasizes it a lot. And I mean, I want to do well in school anyway, so it's my own personal goal to keep a high grade point average, and then him pushing me along just helps even more.
Great.
So, Misty, do you find it difficult in the activities that you're involved in, keeping your grade point average up?
No, I do sometimes. I have to catch myself. I like to put my activities before my grades. Greek life, anything like that. Of course, the fun stuff you want to put before your book work. But no, actually, I haven't had that much trouble. A lot of events you can't be in unless you have a certain GPA, and that really inspired, because I'm a very active person. I like to be there in anything and everything offered. And so that kind of makes me make sure I keep my grades into a certain point.
So, what would you say, Misty, to future freshmen that would like to be attending to SAU?
SAU is a wonderful school. It's not identical to high school, but it still has some of the same aspects. It's not the great big city life. It's not such a huge change, going into places you've never seen or been before. My high school, we went into block scheduling, which is just 4 classes a day, and they're extremely long, which, got me ready for the college life, which these classes are long, especially these Tuesday and Thursday days. They're really long sometimes. But I would really recommend SAU. It's a wonderful school. The people are wonderful. If you ever need anybody, somebody's there for you, and they really care. Your professors really care. It's not like some colleges where you're just a number, and at least here they know my name and they know who I am.
I agree with that to a fault, I suppose, because I felt like at my high school, I attended Magnolia. I'm born and raised here. I don't feel like they prepared us, even though it's a really good school. I don't feel as if I was very prepared to come to school, because I'm not a real school person. And of course, when you're in high school, especially living with your parents, you don't have much of a choice to go to school. And so it really wasn't my idea to come to college. And this college, just like you said, it is kind of a homey atmosphere as opposed to a larger college. And more people do know your name. But it's way harder than anybody could have ever, anybody could have ever tried to explain to me. They just tell you in high school, college is hard. They just say it's hard, and you really can't fathom how hard it is until you just get smack dab in the middle of it. So I would encourage people to come here because it is, a cheaper school, but it's still hard. Just like, I think some people have misconceptions of SAU since they think this is just a college town. It is a cheaper school. They think the curriculum is so easy, but we have a lot of difficult majors out here and a lot of difficult teachers. So, hopefully they don't come in here with the wrong idea thinking that,
Well, your professors here are also kind of like high school teachers. They care. They're there for you if you need them. So that's one thing that really blew my mind when I got here. I was expecting, the drill sergeant who just gave you the information and you left, and they did no help whatsoever. But every professor I they have study sessions with them, not just SIs, but with them and things like that. So it's a wonderful school.
So Sarah, do you feel that there's any improvements that could be made on SAU campus as far as activities or the landscape, anything in general?
Well, I know with the activities that SAU does, like Spring Fling, which just was done last week, I was disappointed that I didn't get to attend because we had a softball game. And I really wanted to go because it looked like a lot of fun. Everybody raves about it, all year, Spring Fling, Spring Fling. And I didn't get to go to it. And I wish that they would have some stuff more like that during maybe days that there wasn't a sports event going on, because that did take away from their stands too. Nobody came to our game that day, and we always have a high attendance rate. We have one of the highest attendance rates in the country for softball, and the fact that nobody came to the game, it wasn't really, it wasn't as much of an adrenaline rush for the rest of the team. Plus the fact that I didn't get to attend Spring Fling, and I wish they would do it on days where there wasn't sports events, and not during the middle of the day where people have classes, because if I wasn't playing softball, then I would have been in class. And I wouldn't have been able to spend as much time out there as maybe people that, are upper class and they have like the early morning classes, or, the graduate class assistants or something like that don't have the classes during the middle of the day, like your general core courses or stuff like that. So when it comes to activities like Spring Fling, just make it in a more, not appropriate, but more convenient time. Because, it seemed like it was a lot of fun, because I did see it being set up.
They did miss a lot of things. And something else, it was extremely hot. It started at noon. That sun was straight out, and we had no shade trees or anything like that, because you're right there in the middle of campus. And so I think if they would hold it later at night, that's just like Greek Week. Greek Week was held right in the middle of the afternoon, and nobody could be involved unless you got out of class, and you had to be involved.
Well, I feel like if it was later on in the day, people like me who commute, it would be harder to get back on campus, because you know how it is when you get out of class, you're ready to kind of go home and relax and, just chill out for a little while, and to leave and then come back several hours later just because it's cooler. It was hot, but they had water games going on in the slip and slide, so it was a lot of fun. And they made candles and stuff, but you stood in line for so long. That was my only serious complaint about it, because you wanted the free stuff. Because college students, we're all kind of poor. So, you wanted the free stuff, but you had to wait there so long. And, I'm not the lightest complected person in the world. So I didn't have a hat, and I was just like melting. I stood in line for a candle for like an hour. And it was, it's a great candle, but it wasn't worth me like burning up in the sun. Still, it was still nice. And I wish more people could have came out.
Well, it's good though. SAU is very good with their activities that they have. They have their movie nights. They have lecturers that come in, the plays that they put on. There's a lot of things. Nobody could ever say, well, there's just absolutely nothing for me to do. You may not want to do what they have, but there is always something going on to do.
So, Misty, I know that you're active, like I said before, in a lot of organizations, and you just recently became an Alpha Sigma. And so what myths do you think you could clear up about Greek life as a whole, such as hazing, and you have to go through some big, long, strenuous ordeal to get these letters? No,
it's not that bad. I do feel like I earned my letters. We put a lot of work and effort into what we do. We do not haze. There is nothing, no hazing involved in anything. It's not allowed.
Hazing is against policy.
Yeah, now sometimes we beg for it. It gets to the point where it's like, just do something to us. Make us listen. And they can't. It's not allowed. But they do hold a lot of other events that, make it just as fun to go through the pledging process. The number one myth that everybody has, you're buying your friends, and you're not buying your friends. Like I was told at the very beginning, when somebody mentioned that, they said, well, if I bought my friends, I sure got off really cheap. And that's just how we feel. I can always go to them. And I'm brand new. I've only been in for a week. And any problem I have, boyfriend, small, little, anything, we're always there for each other. So it's wonderful. I would recommend to anybody to try out the Greek organizations. Any of them on campus are all wonderful.
Great. So Sarah, are you taking any summer classes this next semester?
I'm taking summer school back home. I don't ever get to go home because of softball. I have been only home once this semester, and I miss my parents, you know. And so I can't wait to get home. I love SAU, but I can't wait to get home. So I am actually taking summer school back home at the local community college.
Great. So, Misty, are you taking summer session classes?
Yes, I'll be here over the summer. I'm only going to take the second semester. That way I can work and save up on the first. Or
Right.
try to anyway.
So how has money been spreading out this semester?
It's not bad. You really, at first, I think I ran my mother and father dry because I didn't want to eat in the calf or anything like that. But now it's gotten to the point where I think they basically cut me off. And so you learn to eat in the calf and you learn to enjoy it even if you don't. And so it's not too bad. You know, I recommend a job, even if it's just part-time. You know, I have to have one too. So it's not bad though.
Great.
Yeah, cafeteria food really isn't all that great. That was the only thing, even though I am from Magnolia, I did live on campus. I think it's part of the reason because my mom just didn't like me, but just kidding. But that was one thing that I enjoyed immensely, going home and having
For food.
home cooked food, and you're just like, Mom, I love you so much because you eat the cafeteria food and you're just like, it's okay, but you can only eat pizza and hamburgers so much that you just get sick
It is
of
getting
them.
better. It is getting better. They have a new woman that is over the cafeteria now, and she's trying. And they also have meetings with the students now where you can go in, and it's like every Tuesday. And the students can actually go in and meet with the food service people and discuss things that we could think would make it better, or things that we don't like that they have that maybe you could add to, or, you know, things like that. So they are trying to make it better. But I know what you mean about going home. My dad the other day, he was just like, we never have leftovers anymore if you come home. I clean them out and take them back with me.
I did too. So Sarah, do you think that since this is a college town that Magnolia should remain a dry county?
Well, since I'm from Houston and there's a lot of bars and clubs and it's more of a city life and it's a lot easier to get alcohol, even though I'm underage, I know a lot of people that are overage, you know, 21 or older, they have to drive 30 minutes or something, and I'm usually a DD. And I really don't think that it's safe for people to have to drive 30 minutes to go drinking. And then some people aren't as responsible as, you know, my friends or whatever, where they make sure they have a defensive driver, or not DD with them, because that they drive for 30 minutes, they get drunk, and they don't think about it, and they come back, and most of the roads around here are back roads, and people are going to have accidents. They're dark roads at night. There's not a whole lot of cops out, so that I know the first week of school here in the fall, somebody had an accident coming back from Haynesville because they didn't have a DD. And I just think that if they had some kind of a club on campus or something where there was alcohol, people would be more inclined to stay here on campus where they could walk and not have to drive, and I think that would be a safer issue. And the fact that we're not allowed to have alcohol in the dorms, I think it would be safer if people actually stayed, and where there is, and have, like, you know, they have rounds, people always do rounds, make sure that everything is under control and people aren't binge drinking. I know that's a huge problem on larger campuses. Make sure people aren't binge drinking, or at least keep it down, the consumption of alcohol, and maybe you can only have alcohol on the weekends or something like that, not on weeknights. Have rules that limit how much that you can have. Yeah, exactly.
Well, in town, it is a limit on how much alcohol a person can have per household. I'm not quite sure what it is, but as for us having a bar or liquor store within walking distance of the campus, I really don't think that's going to happen. Even though, in a sense, it would be much safer because, you know, I had a classmate and his sister died in a very terrible accident coming back from a bar. And so, you know, it would make more sense if we just had somewhere closer, because I mean, we are adults for the most part over the age of 21, and I mean, a lot of us like to drink, so I think it would make more sense. So this is a question, I guess I'll direct it to Misty first, but it's a question for the both of you. Do you think that college is better? Do you miss high school? Which one do you feel is better?
I wouldn't go back to high school if it was even offered.
I wouldn't.
I love where I am. I love the people. I love the campus, just the atmosphere. And I really wouldn't go back to high school. I love it here, and I'll be here for the next 3 years. So.
What about you, Sarah?
That's a tough one. The campus that I came from, my high school, was over 4,500 people, so coming here was a real shock. I had just as many friends back home as I did here. The curriculum and the amount of work that I got was about the same, but I also do miss my family. Being 5.5 hours away from home, it's tough. I miss all my brothers. They're all, in high school, and missing their concerts or their athletic events. And my parents not being able to come watch my games all the time when I'm playing is really hard. And I did like high school, but I also like SAU. I had about the same freedom, so it's a toss-up. It's really hard.
So I'd like to thank all those who are going to be watching this program for watching us today. And thank you, Misty, and thank you, Sara, for coming to answer these questions for us today. And again, I'm Tammy Iverson.
And I'm Mary Ligon.
The SAU Report is a production of broadcast journalism students in the Department of Theater and Mass Communication at Southern Arkansas University in Magnolia.